Today, let's take a quick look at the Cheerson CX-30W. I've taken a look at several different Cheerson quadcopters at this point, so this one was definitely interesting to me. The CX-30 means that it's in the same series as the CX-31, it has the same kind of motors, and it's roughly the same size as the 31. But as you can see, it's a slightly different body style. It's of course not a UFO. And the W on it means that it does wireless video. I don't actually have the camera installed on here at the moment, but I can assure you, and you'll see here in a minute, it does have a camera and it does work wirelessly. So it's not true FPV, it works over Wi-Fi, so you have to have a smart device attached. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the box. It is a much smaller box than most other quadcopters of this size, very minimalist. You immediately will see the quadcopter itself, which we'll put right off to the side. The very nice foam cutout that exactly matches the shape and size of it, so very nice for storage. It comes with 4 spare props and a USB charging cable, as well as a user manual, and that is it. There is no controller included with this model. It runs around $45 over on GearBest. Again, thanks to GearBest for sending this out for a review. And pretty much all you get is the quadcopter and the stuff to go along with the quadcopter, no transmitter. Now the quadcopter itself, this one in particular is the yellow and white version. It comes with a 3.7 volt, 700 milliamp hour battery inside of it, just slightly larger than the one you might find in the SEMA X5C or the FY326, or even the Cheerson CX-31. And as I said, this is the white and yellow model, just has the yellow accents. There are other colors available. I believe there's green and blue and possibly even red or orange. And as you can see here, it does come with a camera mounted underneath of it. It just simply plugs into the body and then snaps into place on these little included clips on the underside. Although the antenna on it doesn't really clip to it very well. I mean, you can pull it off and move it around, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, when you want it to stick to the camera, it doesn't. And the battery door that they have on the back, as you can see right here, I don't have a battery door in place because it doesn't really stay on very well. It has this little slot that it kind of slides into and then clips in place, and it doesn't really want to stay in there. So I've just been using it without that. And actually the battery is pretty tight in there, so even if I crash pretty hard, the battery usually doesn't move. And when you go ahead and power it on, you can see it has red LEDs in the front, blue LEDs in the rear, and it is pretty decently bright actually. The prop guards on the top are screwed into place, and I found if you remove them, then the motors can come loose. So that's one thing that's kind of holding the motors in there. You might want to leave them on. It has red landing feet that are included on the bottom. They are entirely useless. It's very nice to have them, but you will immediately lose at least one of them. One of mine fell off on the very first flight, and so I just went ahead and pulled the rest of them off and said forget it. Now here comes the real crux of the review for me. The one thing that I do really like about this. The listing over on GearBest says this will only work with the iPad or the iPhone. But I, of course, expected that to be entirely wrong. So when I got it here, of course, I tested it with the iPad first. I wanted to make sure everything worked appropriately, and it did. But then I tested it with my Android phone, worked just fine with that. I tested it with the NVIDIA Shield Portable, and with that, of course, it works beautifully. You can map the controls over using the Shield mapping software, and that works really well. So you can use multiple buttons and sticks and everything to control it, just like you had a regular transmitter. But if you already own the Cheerson CX-31, that controller will work with it as well. Now with that controller, you cannot control the camera, so you'll have to still have a phone or something to connect to the Wi-Fi in it to do that. So really for me, the Shield Portable is the best thing to control this with. And anyway, I've spent way too much time introducing this. How does it fly and how's the camera? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The camera, it's not great. It's a 0.3 megapixel camera, so it's capable of, I think, 640 by 480, but the videos, they were kind of a weird shape. I'll try to include some of them, but they're gonna be horrible and pixelated just because this is 1080p video and the video from the camera is not. Now, obviously you do have that little bit of extra weight hanging down from the camera, so you're not going to have amazing flights with it. It's going to impact the way that it flies. It's going to impact the flight times. So if you want to use that, by all means do go ahead. It does have some actually decently stable video. It's just very low quality, so don't expect to use it for much. Once you take that camera off, it actually flies pretty decently. Putting it up next to the Cheerson CX-31, I think you get a little bit better pitch out of the CX-30, but what I'm finding with all these Cheerson quadcopters is they don't provide a lot of pitch at all. And they don't provide an awful lot of yaw either. So they're not amazingly fun to fly around, unfortunately. But as I said, I've tried this out with a bunch of different options, and the one thing this really holds for me, the one thing that really makes this thing worthwhile to me, is its flexibility. It means if I want to take it somewhere, all I have to do is take a phone with me and I can control it. But if I want to, I can take the Shield, or I can take the CX-31 controller, or I can take my iPad. It doesn't matter. I can control it with any of those as long as I have the appropriate app. So that's definitely a huge plus. Now, if you're thinking of purchasing this, should you go for this version or the CX-30S? The S model, of course, is going to give you first-person view. That's definitely a nice option, but that model is significantly more expensive. There's also the CX-30W that has the transmitter included, but again, that's another $25 or so. This one runs right around $44 or $45, and the one with the transmitter, I think, is $65 or maybe $70. So really, if you already have the CX-31 controller and you want something a little bit different, this is not a bad option at all. And the fact that you can use the batteries from the SEMA X5C or anything of that shape and size, has the same kind of plug, 3.7 volt, these little white connectors. They all work interchangeably very well. I even used it with a battery from the SEMA X11 and it worked just fine. It just didn't have very long flight time. Now with this included battery, with the camera, with everything on it, you're probably going to see in the neighborhood of 5.5 minute flight times. If you take the camera off, you don't use the camera at all, you'll see it increased. With a 700 milliamp hour battery, you'll probably see around 7 minutes. Using other batteries, using different configurations, you can change that time, of course. If you took the prop guards off and could manage to keep the motors in there, you might be able to add a little bit extra time. Now, realistically, given the price of this, would I recommend it? That's a bit of a tough one. Would I go out and pay $45 for something like this that doesn't come with a transmitter? Probably not. If I was paying $45, I would probably go out and buy the H8 Mini twice, but those don't come with a camera on them. If you're looking for something with a camera just to get started and play around with, and you've got a smartphone already, this definitely is not a terrible option, but there are other good options out there as well. I'll put a link to where you can find this over on GearBest down in the video description if you're interested in it. But that's going to be about all from me for today. Remember, if you like this video, please do leave me a thumbs up down below the video and subscribe to receive more videos when they become available, and I'll see you again next time.